Hey, this is Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman from the Jewish Executive Learning Network. In this short and sweet video, I want to share with you a story that happened to me a few days ago that I think has very, very worthwhile lesson for all of us. A few days ago, my wife called me to the kitchen. I happened to be home. She said, Shlomo Zalman, you have to listen to a phone number, a message that's on the answering machine. I said, is it important? Can you just listen? She goes, no, you got to listen. I said, all right. Okay, Esther. And I go to listen, and what was the message? The message was from someone saying he was from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, obviously the division of the government that deals with taxation, that I owed money for taxes, and there was some kind of problem. Please call the hotline number and find out. So I told her, I said, Esther, I said, look, I don't know anything to the IRS. I have never been dishonest with them to a penny. Not even a nickel, not even a penny, nothing. Because you don't want to play with the IRS. First of all, it's an Aveira, it's a sin. Second of all, it's a Chilul Hashem, it's a desecration of God's name. And what, do you want to go to jail? There's no amount of money to me. First of all, I don't even make that much. But there's no amount to me that would be worth it to play with the IRS, that a person will, God forbid, be taken away and go to jail and pay fines and embarrass and humiliate and disgrace the Jewish people. It's just so not worth it on a bunch of different levels. So I said, Esther, I did nothing with the IRS. She's like, just do me a favor, please call the hotline. I said, okay, I'll call. Now, I'm an attorney. I'm a relatively sophisticated party when it comes to legal things. I call up the IRS number, and the agent answers, and he seems to be informed. He seems to have an agent number, a badge number. He knew my name, my wife's name, and he claims to me on the phone, he says, you owe back taxes. You still owe money that you were not right with us in 2011 and 12 and 13. I said to him, look, sir, I don't know who you are, but you're completely wrong. He says, no, we sent you stuff in the mail. And how come you didn't respond? We sent you legal notices. This call is a courtesy to tell you this is your last chance to pay up, because we're taking legal action against you, and I'm from the tax division that deals with enforcement and a whole thing. So, I was a bit, a bit huffy with the guy. I didn't appreciate it. I told him, look, sir, I don't know who you are, but I'm an attorney. I don't know what you're talking about. I got nothing and no notice. I don't owe you guys 1 penny or 1 cent. And I'm dealing with this. And I hung up the phone on him, and I was not impressed. But he had information about me and my wife and stuff like that. Like, who is this and what's going on? Anyway, I was completely bent out of shape. I ended up reaching out to my accountant saying, Mayday, Mayday, something's going on over here. This doesn't sound right. I have not been playing with the IRS. Just, Rabbi Bregman's not playing that. You shouldn't either. Nobody should. It's just not, it's glot, not kosher, like 100 different ways. So anyway, so what happened? So I called him up, and the accountant and this and that. Bottom line, short answer, after I did my homework and so did the accountant, turned out that this was part of a scam. This caller was part of a fraud and part of a scam, and they somehow get information that's a little bit private. They call up citizens, they scare the daylights out of them, and they tell them, listen, but if you pay now, we'll let things go, blah, 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 blah. My call with the guy didn't go that far because I was a little bit wiser, and I wasn't taking any garbage, and so on and so forth. It came to an end. But let's get to the bottom line. So what's the point? I'm not just telling you this to tell you a story. I got plenty of Torah sources I could share with you, and a lot of Dvar Torah. So why am I telling you this? The reason I'm telling you this story is a very simple, pointed, direct reason. We have emunah and betachon. We have faith and trust in what the Torah tells us. And one of the things the Torah tells us is that if things happen in your life, it's for a reason. Hashem sends you messages. God sends you messages all the time to wake you up. Hashem speaks to you by the daily events that happen in your life. So when this happened to me, I said, wow, what is the message Hashem wants me to take from it? What's a lesson I'm supposed to, he's giving me that maybe is valuable for me, my family, maybe the other people within my scope of influence. So here's what I was thinking. It's an idea, and hopefully I grew from it, and maybe you will as well. When somebody calls you up and says you owe back taxes, what does that mean? That basically means that you had a certain amount of blessing and resource that came your way and into your hands in that year and that period of time, and you held back. In that case, you held back. Let's say a person made $100,000 and you owed the government $20,000 in taxes, but you only gave them $15,000 in taxes. In other words, it would be like in that theoretical case, it's like you got blessing, but you held back. You denied it. You didn't share it the way you were supposed to, commensurate with, on par with the way you were blessed. That's really what back taxes would be if the IRS comes after you. And think about it. It could be that maybe Hashem was telling me a message in my life. You know, you think you're sharing whatever talents or strengths or blessings I gave you with others and with the public, but maybe you held back. Maybe you held back. Maybe there was a time I wanted you to host people for Shabbos and you didn't. You held back. Maybe there was a time you could have taught more, shared more, answered more, gave more, and you held back. You didn't. You owe me for the past because you didn't do everything you could have with everything I gave you. Is that the message Hashem wanted me to take from it? I don't know. I always like to think I'm doing my best, but maybe it's possible for me to dig deeper and bring more to the table to benefit others. And perhaps you who's listening to this Torah video, maybe you can do so as well. My challenge to you from that stressful, upsetting experience that happened to me, because even though you don't, I just want you to understand this, even if you do nothing wrong and the IRS comes to mess with you, they can make your life plenty miserable with legal problems and proceedings and tens of thousands of dollars of bills and collections and lawyers' fees and otherwise, even if you did almost nothing wrong, okay? Almost nothing wrong or literally nothing wrong, because you're going to have to plead and negotiate and get out of it. So that was very stressful. And what I took from that is maybe it's possible that you could be a person who thinks you've paid your debts, you're even, and you took the blessings that God gave you, financial and otherwise, and you used them the way He wanted. But maybe He said, no, you still owe a little bit more. I gave you so much, maybe you didn't deliver all of it. Anyway, something to think about. It's Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman, the Jewish Executive Learning Network. This is not a lawyer clip, but a free lawyer promo for me. But I hope that idea was worthwhile and helpful to you. And we'll see you the next time on this YouTube channel. Good night. Bye.